I love the way those Blu-rays feel. They're so slick.
Yeah.
Huh? Have you guys ever felt a Blu-ray before?
Oh, it feels so good.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's real smooth.
We'll never play again. So
real smooth.
touch it up all you want.
So yeah, this week's Funhaus is brought to you all by the fine folks at Lisa. We will talk a little bit more about them later. But first, I want to talk about our night at the mall last night.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's such a nice night.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting fucked on things,
What?
What?
We weren't talking about that at all.
What were you doing at the mall?
Yeah.
what you're
He
talking
went to
about
the mattress
You're talking about
store.
the mattress thing.
Oh.
That was a good segue by me.
We went and saw The Predator.
The Predator.
The
Predator.
Not Predator.
Not
The
Predator.
Predator.
Not Predators.
Not
Predator 2.
I'm sure there were some predators at the mall.
There was a predator in the movie. The guy who got cut.
Oh, that's right.
Out.
There was
He still in
a
the movie.
sexual predator.
That guy
in
was
the
all
movie.
over the movie.
Yeah.
That's
Was
the
he?
guy, right? Yeah, he was.
I don't
It
actually
looked
know.
a lot like
He was
that.
one-
what
he
he
was
looks
a-
like.
he was
What's
one of
his
the
fucking
guards.
name?
Okay, gotcha. Anyway, we can
We're
talk
gonna
about
start.
that
We're
later.
gonna start with that topic.
Sure. Anyway, do you have a rundown of what the movie? I don't know. What do you want to do?
Well,
Do you
so-
want to talk just about this movie, or do you talk about the history of the Predator?
Let's start with the movie The Predator, which
Okay.
is the fourth Predator movie.
That's right, it is.
Not counting AVP.
No, yeah, those are outright. They're gone.
What do you
They're
mean they're
canon.
gone? AVP 2 is not bad.
never saw it.
AVP 2 is not bad.
AVP Requiem.
Requiem is not bad.
Requiem.
Requiem. The first AVP is
Requiem.
garbage. Don't ever watch it.
Okay.
But Requiem's not bad.
Well, the
Whoa.
first one was PG-13.
That's
which
right.
I
That
would
was
say
the problem. Yeah.
One thing The Predator had going for it was that it was an R-rated movie.
It was one of the goriest films I've seen in a long time.
Oh
It was
my
pretty
God!
rough.
There were a few deaths that was like.
They were awesome.
There's a cool scene without spoiling too much, where there's a part with the Predator invisible, and he's knocked out on the floor or whatever. But there's a body above him that he chopped in half, and its guts are literally hanging out.
That was so
Oh,
cool.
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's slowly
That was so
dripping
cool.
on the Predator, revealing him. Like, there's some cool,
Yeah.
legit moments here.
Yes, there are.
But man, oh man, I felt overall the movie had some real tone issues.
Yes.
It-
Tone is one of those things that's hard to talk about because I think people misuse it, but that is exactly what was wrong with The Predator.
And I honestly, the more I was paying attention, the more I could tell this movie was an editing nightmare.
Yes.
There's so much I can tell was cut from the movie. The best I can compare it to is like in Episode 1 in Star Wars, when it randomly cuts to Qui-Gon and Anakin just running in the woods.
Yeah.
Or sorry, we're running in the desert and Darth Maul's chasing them. Like,
You don't know what happened.
you're like, why were they
Where did he
running? And
come from?
there was a scene, and it just feels very jarring. This movie was like that every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
There was a lot of action in the movie that seemed super choppy. You had no idea where anyone was coming from. The cars would come out of nowhere on top of each
Yeah.
other, maybe for surprise,
It
but it was also just poorly choreographed. maybe?
The strangest thing about this movie too was that for the first, I want to say 30 to 45 minutes, I was pretty bought in. I was like, I appreciated that Shane Black was showing us why things were happening. He wasn't telling us; he was showing us. There were a couple of scenes where how did this person know how to use a gun? It's like, oh, that's right, this happened before. He was using the the logic that you had as a movie if you were paying attention. And I was like, cool, all right. But then as the movie went on, it got faster and faster and faster to where people were doing things that they would never have done or could never had time to do.
Yeah.
And it was so for me. I thought if they had stuck to it, they'd stuck to the logic of the first 30 to 45 minutes, I would have been in the whole way.
I'm guessing it's like a 3-hour movie, is what he originally wrote.
I cannot wait for that director's cut Blu-ray. By the way.
Yeah.
With the tone thing, that was something that I never really think about, but it was something that in the theater I was thinking about because it's very funny at times, but then sometimes it gets serious, and I realized whenever a serious moment happens, like Bruce and I, there was one point where we were like, oh, this is about to happen. Like, this is totally going to happen. That's going to be hilarious. And then it didn't, and it was serious, and we're like...
It didn't.
Oh,
fell
like-
flat. It fell flat.
Yeah, it's like that was great opportunity for a joke, but for some reason, in this one instance, it decided to be serious. In most other instances, it didn't. So yeah, it was all over the board. Like, you never really knew how to feel about what was about to happen.
It's strange, too, because there are moments where the movie actually felt pretty smart. It had this sort of well-written Shane Blackness to it.
It did.
Where of all the characters, Olivia Munn was sort of the voice of reason, where there's a lot of like kind of good moments where they're like, wait, why would you do that? There's even you've probably seen in the trailer, but there's even a part where they're like, we call it a predator. He's like, but a predator defends itself. This is more of a hunter. Like, yes, but predator sounds cooler.
Right.
Like, good meta joke.
Yeah.
Got it. That's good. That's
Well, it's
fine.
because the hunter was the original name for the film The Predator. And
I didn't know that.
changed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
Because it sounded cooler.
Because the predator sounds way cooler.
Predators eat to survive. They prey
Well,
to survive.
and this creature is a hunter, not a
He's
predator.
a sports hunter.
Right.
Yeah, like he's not eating what he kills. He's just hunting.
But yeah, that kind of undercutting your own logic, kind of making fun of movie logic is a Shane Black thing that he does really, really well.
He does it well, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd say not sticking to that hard enough might have been one of the reasons I didn't like this movie that much.
Yeah, yeah.
You were talking about the humor, and sometimes the humor to me seemed almost childlike, like it was meant for a PG or PG-13 movie. Like when they all of a sudden cut away to one of these predator dogs, like running after everybody.
Oh, yeah.
They were like schlocky jokes.
It had kind of a weird, like, Stranger Things vibe at some point where I know Shane Black loves Christmas, and I guess in this version he loves Halloween.
Yeah, he's moved to his Halloween phase.
And
of his
there is
career.
a child character in the movie, which does serve the plot a little bit, but a lot of it feels so forced.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys felt that
Oh
way.
yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Definitely.
my biggest problem in the movie is I had no idea where anyone was.
Blocking was very strange.
I mean, in general, in the
like the
like,
space, the city is what you're saying.
I wanted them to show like. I
when the
I
kid-
don't know because it opens
yeah.
up with them like in a jungle or something, like with like a drug bust, and that's like the predator randomly lands in this area, no one knows why, which is sort of like the mystery of the first movie. Fine, whatever. But then they're like, get on this bus full of crazy people, like in the same city. But then they hijack the bus, like, let's drive to my house, like.
So I can tell you.
Are you in South America? Where are you?
So I can actually tell you where. So, and this is what I mean is that if you paid attention to every single scene, Shane Black had an answer for you, but it was fast.
Yeah.
Boy, was it fast. Mexico is where that shit happened at the very beginning.
Gotcha.
And then they went to Georgia, and because they showed
How did we get to Georgia so fast?
well, Georgia was where the spaceship was going. They showed it flying over the Florida area, and then Georgia. They also showed a sign when the bus turned around. They showed a sign that saying it was in Georgia. But it wasn't easy to pay attention to that. Like everything was going so fast.
This is like Wolverine.
You told me I had to read?
Yeah, right. Well, that was the thing, and that's what I'm saying. Is like Shane Black is at one point he's giving us like PG and PG-13 humor and like kind of fun, goofy gore.
Kick him in the nards.
But then also really fast logic that you're trying to keep up with to be like, wait a minute, well, hold on. Why did the kid get into the spaceship, and how did the other guy get? How did he learn how to use the rifle and all
this
this
shit? Suspension of disbelief here and there, but when it's those moments where they're like, we're on a bus and we're going to drive to who knows where.
to prison, and then they do a U-turn, and they're in the secret base.
Yeah, I know.
Which happens to be a few miles down the street.
I know people gave shit to the last season of Game of Thrones for doing that, but I felt like they earned fast travel.
Yeah,
And
they have 7 seasons built up. Yeah,
this movie was like, you did not earn it because I don't know where anything is because they're like, we're in Mexico. It's like, it looked like if we shot like up on a hill behind our office, that was their version of Mexico. Like it was Hollywood, Mexico.
Yeah.
It was so unclear where everything was, but also
It was.
I was just trying to just pay attention to what was going on, but then also the 54-year-old woman sitting next to me also sounded really confused. I don't know why she was there.
No, I think everybody was confused. Like I said, even though Shane Black was still trying to give us those answers, because I do appreciate fast filmmaking, and I appreciate the fact that he's trying to give us that logic, but it was too fast. It was way too fast.
I think we talked about this briefly, but it seems like this movie got cut for time at some point.
Oh, it totally.
There was a
it
2.5 hour movie that they needed to have an hour and 45 runtime.
It
on.
must have. It must, because it was an hour and 50. I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, they bless them. They try to do some stuff in the movie too, where they're trying to expand on the lore and the reasoning behind the predators, which I think makes it less good.
Well, yeah, it's like the Jaws effect. In the original Predator, the Predator was cool because you didn't know shit about him. And the more and more you explain about their universe and their culture, it kind of, it takes away. It reveals too much about the
I don't want
villain.
to sit here and explain why the original Predator is such a good movie, and it is sort of an accidental success. They got very lucky with a lot of things, but it's a movie that was ahead of its time. It did the thing where there is no Predator for half that movie.
I think it's 30 minutes in, they show for the first time
Yeah.
Predator vision.
It was a unique way of storytelling, even though it's an action movie.
Yeah.
It did something really unique and cool, and it was like technologically it was ahead of its time, and like the creature design, everything was really good. This movie assumes you know everything about predators and you want to know more, and the more you try to explain these things, it's not as good.
I actually,
it's just like mediocre sci-fi.
I can be on the opposite side of that because I actually like that. I have seen all of the Predator movies. I like them all, and I was excited to learn more about why the Predator was here or why the larger Predator was here, or I actually really like that stuff, and I like the expounding upon the universe, but. The Jaws analogy and the Star Wars analogy are both really good because when you watch the first Star Wars, you're like, wow, this is such an original movie. And like the special effects are kind of like budget, but it still works out. Like they somehow made it work. It's same with Jaws, the first Jaws. But then when you go all the way down to the end of the franchise and you go to like, let's say Revenge of the Sith or Attack of the Clones, and it's a bunch of, CG robots beating up on each other, or it's Jaws with a bunch of ridiculous exploding sharks. That's what the Predator is. Where all of a sudden there's 7,000 predators, and they're slicing throats every 1 second, and there are spaceships everywhere and like laser guns, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? That's where this is. That's where the franchise is now.
I feel like it.
So we were talking about it being a little choppy. They actually reshot the entire third act of this movie after test screenings.
Really? I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. When we found the ending slightly confusing or the action hard to follow, that is why, is my guess.
Well,
some people in those early screenings thought the end was weird. So who knows what they added.
I like that there was it did feel like there were moments where they acknowledged the other movies and they're saying like, oh yeah, they've been here before and they're coming here more often. So you're like, oh okay, so there's kind of they're trying to expand on something, but the payoff was so bad.
Yeah,
I didn't think they gave a good enough like it's kind of confusing. And then
it's global warming,
well, yeah,
it's all right.
You can
it's fine.
say that.
Spoiled it.
You can say that, and who knows if that's a spoiler or not?
Yeah, I know. It's fine.
I didn't spoil it.
I don't know. It's sort of
it's a throwaway line. To John's credit, that's a throwaway line.
But that was the whole reason.
I mean, not really.
It ended up not being.
Yeah, it was like there were other reasons too.
It's just sort of confusing. But then there's this.
I didn't really follow it.
There's this plot point that they're alluding to, saying like, someone's trying to give us the tool to stop this, and nothing made sense. Is the big like reveal at the end? I was genuinely like on the edge of my seat of like, oh my god, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? And the thing they did was, I don't know. I'm curious what the audience feels like for those who actually have seen it.
Let's talk about spoilers a little bit later.
Yeah, we can later.
We'll go full
do
spoilers a little
after
bit
the
later.
ad read.
Okay.
I don't know. I will say, if you're
I think there's some good spoiler stuff to talk about.
There is some really good spoilers.
This definitely feels like a movie that should have just kind of gone straight to Netflix.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know.
So something else completely missing from the movie was Edward James Olmos was cast as some sort of military leader or commander guy named Sanchez.
Ouch.
And he was not in that movie at all that I saw last night. Yeah. So we missed out on some EJO, and I'm a little sad about that.
Is there any other little trivia you want to pop onto us?
Yeah, that might be it. I was just trying to maybe explain some of why it felt choppy, even though
that makes sense.
That choppiness led to one of the better things about the movie, which was the relentless pace. Like, it didn't let down. It was an hour and 50 minutes, and there was no point where I was like, all right, this movie needs to be
hurry it
over.
up.
Yeah.
It was fun the whole way. Even though it wasn't very good, it was still fun.
It was. I would agree.
It's so weird. There's parts of it that felt like it was trying to recapture some of the classic 80s action stuff, which you could probably never do again. Movies have tried. But then there's also kind of weird modern problems with movies. They're like, hey, you're on a bus full of guys. Let me introduce everyone one by one. It's like, let's just assume the audience aren't complete fucktards. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, do you have to go down the list and like name them off like G.I. Joes?
And their problems.
Yeah. So this is this character, and this is the shtick he's going to be doing for the whole movie.
Yeah.
That was that scene.
But I appreciate it because there's some of that funny. The characters they wrote were characters.
Yeah.
They were, but
Shane
that's
Black
like
is good
normally
he's really
Shane
good.
Black is a good screenwriter, I feel like, because he's written a lot of good movies. Normally, in good movies, that stuff plays out through dialogue, not through pointing at a person and saying, this is how this person is going to be.
I can be on the opposite side of all of that. I actually liked that because it felt to me like he was sort of, it was like a nod to the tropes of that. Like he knew he was in the trope, Shane Black did, and we all did too. So for me, the reason that they pulled off that bus scene where they explain all their problems and stuff is because they're great actors.
Yeah,
all the people that were acting were really, really good actors, and it was also written like I think he just let them improv. Like he just let them go. Like
Absolutely.
just fucking talk to each other. Like
I
it
believe
doesn't
that.
matter.
And I think that the guys, like the crew of like mentally, disrupted individuals, was the best part of the movie. Was these guys when they were in like the motel room with each other or just on the bus, when they were hanging out, improving some dialogue to be funny, was easily the best part of the film because they were so much fun.
Yeah.
It felt like the movie was constantly at odds with itself. There's moments where it felt like it was someone trying to emulate a Predator movie. Like it's almost like a Predator fan film that somehow had a $70 million budget. But then there are parts where I'm like, oh, there's some genuinely good written dialogue and character stuff. I feel like I'm watching The Nice Guys or I guess moments of Iron Man 3 where like, or Kiss Kiss Bang Bang of like, oh, this is good like modern Shane Black, like snappy dialogue, quick back and forth. Probably words you can't say anymore, but he got away with in the 80s, so now he gets a pass for some reason. They did
the Tourette's.
They do like a Tourette's joke. They do an autism joke.
Yeah, it was.
They do a retard joke. Like they do these things where you're like, this is like I'm trying to think like movies back. I remember in the 80s and 90s, like Adventures in Babysitting, stuff like that. They would drop the F word, not fuck, the other one that you can't get away with saying anymore. Like Thor is a F, and I was like, holy crap! Like, and they would just drop that in movies, and that was like stuff you couldn't really do. But I wonder if that's like Shane Black just being like, I can do this because I'm funny and I earned it.
The joke was he referred to that too. He said, I know we can't normally use that word, but that word. So I appreciate that. It wasn't just that he just dropped the joke on you and then everyone was like, I guess it's okay. It was self-referential.
It's like a Rick and Morty level sort of like let's hammer home how dumb it is to do this. I don't know. Either way, that was my ultimate issue. Is the movie always felt at odds with itself. It opens up with a goddamn space fight.
It does.
Yeah, it does. Well,
which
it's
I thought was cool.
Chase.
I thought that was cool.
There is a space chase, which
bring it back around to Star Wars. That's how Star Wars started.
I want to do like this is like almost like sci-fi for the masses, movie making 101. Don't open your movie up with Jor-El swimming in a juice vat with
I liked that. That was fun.
I did too. But for the masses, for the 54-year-old woman who kept leaning over to her husband going, what is this?
Was she doing that, asking stupid questions?
No, but I could see like her like kind of moving.
Confusion,
What the? Yeah. And then the dude in front of us is on his phone the whole goddamn time. Anyway, but
I told you should have thrown popcorn at him.
Should have thrown popcorn at him.
Was there a guy on his phone?
No, what I do, this is a tip to everyone in a movie theater. Unless you're in a place where there's an open carry law, what you do is, because all the seats are reclining, you just lift up your leg and you just kind of nudge their chair. Not in a rude way, not where they're like, oh, shit, but just make them aware that the people behind you are looking at your screen, and they'll usually just go, oh, and then turn their screen off and not look at their phone again. Yeah. And if they do it again, then you just shove your foot and push them forward so that they're like leaning forward like this until they stop.
Does this work for you?
It has never caused an issue. It's always people, either the first time they're like, oh, yep, and put their phone away, or they'll take it out again, and I'll do that where I push a little harder, and then they'll go, and put their phone away, and then not take it out again.
For reference, for the audience, we went to an advanced screening that John got us into. People had to get there hours ahead of time, wait in line.
We did too.
Sit in the theater for an hour. Movie starts, guy's on his phone.
So weird.
What the fuck is your
plenty
problem?
Of time to be on your phone.
You can't put it down for an hour and a half? And there was action happening on screen. The guy was like, well, yeah.
He took it out like 4 times. Just like
Really?
There was a part where he just kept checking the time.
I didn't even know.
Every
he
4
missed
minutes, he was
this.
like, time. I'm like, it's been 4 minutes.
I didn't,
Use your internal clock, it dingus.
I actually didn't notice that at all. Dan, did you notice that?
No, not at all.
Well, it wasn't.
I was on the other end for that.
You guys were on the good side. But, goddamn.
There are things I like about The Predator. I liked the fact that it was really gory. I like that fact that it felt like the final destination of Predators, where like a bunch of different, there are a bunch of different deaths in a bunch of different ways that you're like, whoa, what the fuck? Like you had no idea that it had a certain way. Like there were times where like there's one specific death where he shoots this cable through a dude, and it attaches itself to a wall, and then a Jeep drives through the cable and chops off two dudes' heads, which was fucking awesome.
There was a lot of really cool Predator weapons.
Yeah, and also there was another time too, because I was like, oh wow, like they're all pretty visceral, like identifiable deaths, where like somebody will go through a stomach or like they'll shoot their head or whatever. There was one time he shot a weapon at somebody and their body exploded, and I was like, holy shit, like that's brutal.
My problem with that though is it felt like it was going down the sort of Terminator Aliens sort of thing, where the cool thing has already been done with Alien and Terminator. The mystery, the build up, all that fun stuff. Now everyone's like, well, that's it. That's all they do. So they're just sort of diluting the Predator down to its most bare bones, which is, it just kills.
It just kills, yeah.
And they're like, well, is there something cool we can do with that? And they're like, yeah, dogs. Like, no, not dogs. Like, I said cool. Anyway.
I think they did have dogs and Predators, but I don't know. Every time you make your monster also a dog is fucking stupid. They did it in the Hulk. I don't know. It seems like really lame ideations.
Ang Lee's a Hulk, but it was
Hulk
also,
dogs.
Yeah, they were Hulk dogs.
Yeah, but it was one of those movies that came out in the early 2000s, so all the action happens at night and you can't see a thing that's happening.
That movie's garbage. Don't ever watch it. Nobody watched that film.
Maybe we do a little
Theater
Funhaus
mode
review. Oh, theater mode would be
Theater
great.
mode on that would be great. It's garbage. Don't watch it.
I wonder how much Eric Bana asked you getting that. Anyway, sorry.
It's a plate of chicken. I remember that.
Talking some more about the few things that were good about this movie, Sterling K. Brown as the main bad guy,
Great.
Traeger. He was chewing up the scenery.
He's great in everything.
He's chewing gum the whole time.
He's great in everything.
What else have you seen him in? Because like
he's in the American Crime Story, the O.J. Simpson one.
Oh,
he is killer, and that's the first time I saw him in it, and I was like, this dude is awesome. And every time I've seen him, he's fantastic. So
he played Chris Darden.
Also, I like the lead, Boyd Holbrook. I actually like him. I liked him in Logan.
Yeah.
I like him in. There was another
Narcos.
thing. Narcos. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I liked him in Narcos.
To me, he just looks like discount Charlie Hunnam, who's also just kind of like
he's even discount.
Yeah, he's a discount.
He's
Brad
actually
Pitt,
discount.
maybe.
He's actually discount Joel Kinnaman. If you really want to talk
mix
about
them together, right?
Yeah.
Joel Kinnaman's like discount.
I know.
Channing Tatum.
I like him for some reason. I don't know why, but I think I like him from Narcos. But
to me, I didn't buy his like tough guy. Like he was acting too much to be tough. I don't know. It's hard for me to buy.
It's near impossible to follow in the footsteps of the character Schwarzenegger played because
Dutch.
That's what I was saying earlier. Predator is such a happy accident.
Yeah.
Like it was Arnold, probably at his healthiest, but also like biggest. Like he's obviously not. Like he just looked like he looked like a military badass.
Yeah.
Oh, he was jacked. There weren't enough big muscular dudes without their shirts.
I'm just saying
movie.
it set a weird tone because it was made in the 80s when everyone looked like a cartoon.
Yeah.
Like Carl Weathers with this giant, like even what's his name is McTiernan or whatever.
Yeah.
I think he's like they're all on steroids in the jungle. It was great. And then the follow up to that was like Danny Glover.
The oldest man in the world fights Predator, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Why would he ever fight a Predator?
Followed by Adrian Brody,
which made a little more sense.
Kind of, but he's still like he's sort of a soft
Was he jacked? Did they jack him?
He was jacked in that film.
As jacked as Adrian Brody can get, yes. Which is Arnold on his worst day.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
Oh, man.
But he was jacked though. I mean, like, or shredded is probably the better word to use.
Yoked.
Predators is not a bad film. I actually thought that movie was pretty good.
Predators is good.
Yeah.
I remember parts of it fondly. It came and went. That movie just kind of came out. I remember supposed to be directed by Robert Rodriguez. He ended up just producing it. It was some
other guy, yeah.
Some director who I don't think it really ended up going to go on to anything. It was an interesting concept. Like, Bruce, you were saying something like there's some lore there, like there's a reason why.
Yeah, no, totally, there was. I mean, but it was the same. They did the same thing that you liked about Predator, which is you kind of inferred the reasons, but they didn't tell you.
Yeah.
Like it was like there were a bunch of prisoners that landed on a planet that you was sort of like Earth, but not, and you don't know why they're there. And then as the movie plays out, you go, oh, I know why they're there. And then the predators arrive, and you're like, this makes a lot of sense. But the movie doesn't tell you why. It's not like, here's why they are there on this planet. Like, you should watch the film. It's
I think
good.
they try to. There's the
try.
the random part with Lawrence Fishburne where he's like, yeah, I'm just.
Yeah.
So there's Adrian Brody at the what?
Sorry. What's
Did you
his face?
Gasped at Walton Goggins?
Yeah, Walton Goggins.
He's great.
You're
He's
the
so
first
fucking good.
last person to ever gasp at Walton Goggins.
No,
I
not
love
true.
him.
Walton Goggins
Walter-
is great.
Walton-
He's a great
Everybody
actor.
loves him.
Walton. And he is a
Goggins.
badass.
Yeah,
No,
he's-
he's a great actor, but I'm just
So this movie,
This is a movie he would show up in.
one of the reasons Predators was good, similar to The Predator, is when they put together a cast of fun actors.
Yeah.
They're all character actors. None of them are like leading men necessarily, and they just bounce off each other.
It's a funny moment. I'll talk about it in the spoilers, but keep in mind the entirety of the Predator takes place in like 30 hours, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's about right.
And so when a character at the end
Long
is
enough
like,
to shit something out. Are you talking about the Predator? Sorry.
yeah,
I'm
this
not
part
sure.
never happens in the movie, by the way, when all the lasers are on Adrian Brody.
That's
They just
right.
added
That-
That
for
was
the
just for
trailer.
the trailer.
It's a really good shot.
It's a great shot. Kind of sold you on it. Never happens.
All right, so let's
Do
talk
the ad
about
read and we'll do-
spoilers in a second.
Yeah.
So let me give it up to Lisa real quick.
Do you want to? Should we go around real quick? Spoiler free. You want to give a score?
Oh, sure.
What would
Oh,
you
out
s-
of what?
Predators.
Okay.
There's only been 4
On
predators.
a spectrum?
So
On
on
autistic
1 through
spectrum.
4.
Jesus Christ.
I'll give this 2 out of 4 Predators. I'll give it 2 out of 4. Not 3.
I give it 4 sword arms out of 8 sword blades.
Oh, boy.
That's also
That's
2 out of 4.
very
But sure.
confusing.
Yeah, that's fine. I give it 2 predators. I can't even think of anything clever.
Yeah.
2 out of 4 mandibles,
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Vagina faces, yeah.
which they actually use in this movie. Thank God.
They do, yeah.
I was glad they.
Dan, what about you?
I don't know. It's halfway, I guess. This wasn't good, but 2 out of, if we're ranking on 4, 2's fine, I guess. I don't know. Fuck it.
I would say it's somehow almost as good as Predator 2.
I'd say it's better than Predator 2. Predator 2 is boring.
I don't remember Predator
It's
2.
so long since I've seen
boring.
Predator.
I just remember there's a part where Bill Paxton runs down a subway.
It's
and then he goes like, freeze! And then Predator rips
his head off. That's actually one.
It's
It's one of the
comically
most,
far
It's
away.
one of the most disturbing scenes because he's screaming and his scream goes up in octave as his head gets ripped off.
Really?
It's very disturbing. It's a very disturbing scene.
I'm going to watch that.
It's
Let me
frightening.
get
Sorry,
this
Dan.
off
Go
my
ahead.
desk.
It's all good. It's all good. This was a great scene from Predators, by the way. I'd say The Predator is not as good as Predators.
It's not. It's not.
Which isn't as good as Predator.
That's
so,
true.
I don't know.
I don't remember Predators being good or bad. I just remember.
good.
I remember going to the theater and then going home and not thinking about it.
It just
It didn't have an impact on my life.
I feel like it was less campy than the
was.
movie.
It
we
was.
saw
It definitely
last
was.
night. And I don't necessarily need camp in
I mean,
a Predator
we're
movie.
currently watching.
your ad read. We'll
a
never-
man-
we'll never
a man
stop.
with a katana.
But that's fucking cool.
It's cool. We'll never stop. Dan.
Yeah,
You
all
gotta do
right,
the
all
ad read.
right. Lisa, let me do this ad read. A quality night's sleep helps you recover from distractions faster, prevents burnout, make better decisions, improve your memory, and overall make fewer mistakes. It's not marketing, it's science. To design a better mattress, Lisa leveraged 30-plus years of experience and hundreds of hours of testing, science, to develop the perfect mattress for all body shapes and sleeping styles. Lisa's mission is to provide a better night's sleep for every body. Through their 110 program, they donate 1 mattress for every 10 they sell. That's more than 26,000 mattresses and counting that they've donated. Lisa strives to leave the world a better than they found it, but that doesn't stop with mattress donations. Together with Arbor Day Foundation, Lisa plants 1 tree for every mattress they sell and are committed to planting 1 million trees by 2025. Don't miss the summer savings. Get $160 off a Lisa mattress at lisa.com/filmhouse. That's LEESA.com/filmhouse. So yeah, sounds like Lisa's doing some good stuff for the environment. For
Unlike
some
the
people
Predator.
that, people that need mattresses, unlike the Predator.
That's not true. He was trying to help.
Yeah. So
spoilers.
We're in
Spoiler
spoiler
time.
Spoiler!
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Okay.
He was trying to help us because he knew global warming was going to kill our planet.
You
So
poop out cloak machine.
okay, hold on.
What
hold
were
on.
you talking about?
You guys don't remember that?
I remember he eats.
Remember,
the-
he swallowed the little cloak
Yes,
device.
yes, I know.
And then and then it was long enough. The movie was long enough that
Watching Batman.
This is
They're
Batman
like
as
a fan
Predator.
film.
They were
He
like,
fights
all right,
Predator.
let's go. And then you hear and he holds his stomach, and then you hear a toilet flush, and he's coming out of the RV, and he's like, I have the little orb thing.
Yeah, he has a cloaking device. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the movie, the timeline of the movie was a little bit longer than how long it takes to shit something out.
oh, okay. I
Because he
see.
ate it in the beginning of
Wow.
the movie, and
That
he
connection.
shit it out right before the end of the movie. That's what I was saying.
I didn't quite understand the cloaking
No,
device.
he didn't shit
his,
it out
His
bef-
little wrist thing just shot out a little ball that
So there
cloaks.
were a lot of things that. So at the beginning of the movie, to explain to the viewer, Boyd Holbrook, the main guy, puts an arm cannon on. Basically, it looks like an arm cannon.
It's a little gauntlet.
But
yeah.
it's and what happens is there are a bunch of things that pop off of it that you don't
a
know
car
what they
fob.
are. There's like one's like it looks like the computer to the ship. One's like he fires a weapon, and another one is a cloaking device that's just a little sphere. And he swallows the sphere, and then mails off the rest of it to his son. But it wasn't supposed to get to his son because he mailed it to a PO box. Regardless,
Right.
it gets there. Either way, his son has the helmet and the computer, and like Dan said, everybody in this movie, all the humans, know how to use Predator technology without ever having touched it. Like that's to me the only time they explain it with a kid. The kid's like learning how to use it. He learns how to use it in like 12 hours or something.
Yeah.
But the rest of the people, what the fuck? How do they know how to use all that shit? They just knew how immediately when they pick up Predator. It's like, oh, I can fire a gun. I can use the gauntlet. I can use the. It was just.
According to Olivia Munn, autism is human evolution.
That's right.
Yeah.
It is.
well,
It's the
that's
next step.
something that's actually been theorized.
No, that has, yeah.
That was her reasoning, and that's why the kid was smart enough to figure it out. But
What about everybody else?
But then when Soldier with PTSD was like, ball makes me invisible, got it. And like, wait, well, I thought, and then he did the thing where he's like, he swallowed it for some reason, I guess as a plot device.
So
Literally.
Well, so that he-
there's-
I thought
shit
it was
it out
going
later.
to be so he could turn invisible on command.
yeah, he
That's what I
just
thought.
kind
I
of
thought that too.
farts every time he farts. He goes invisible.
Right.
I thought for sure that was going to be the same thing, but it wasn't. It was so he could transport it to the U.S. That's what it was.
But he already sent everything to the U.S.
Well, except for the little ball.
Why the ball?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
plot reasons.
And why did it design? It was like a human has me on my arm, or like he put the thing on, and it created this little to-go device for him.
Yeah.
Like, why did that happen?
This is what I mean is that throughout the movie, everybody's using the technology of Predator, but you don't know how they figured it out. And I think that's the problem as the movie speeds up and gets towards the climax. This makes a lot of sense that they reshot the third act, is that the more that people start using this shit, the more you're like, what the fuck? How did they ever figure that out? And like, did it just automatically do the thing that they wanted it to do because of their brain?
Well, yeah, especially because when Sterling K. Brown strapped the shoulder cannon onto his arm at the end, and it was just shooting where he wanted.
So they explained
What the fuck
how he
sense
used
does
it, but they didn't explain even further, which was he turned his head and it would move with his head, right? He figured that out, but that was all they gave us. That was all they gave us for that. And other than that, who knows how he fires it? Like, because he just turned his head and that's how it moved. But in terms of firing it, who knows?
Have you guys seen the original Predator?
Yeah,
scene?
it's great.
Oh, it's a bug.
That's Jean-Claude Van Damme in
It
there.
is.
Well, that's scary.
I'm spooked.
I think that's really the effect suit.
Yeah,
You're gonna,
yeah,
like, do an
that
effect
was
on
the
top of it, but
invisible. They used some of it.
I like to
think there's-
pretend that's what it was.
I think there's still one shot in the movie
Oh, yeah?
that you see him like jumping from a tree, and that's all they kept from the original.
really?
Yeah, but
I do like.
so bad.
I do love I love the Predator's character design. I think it's so fucking cool. And I thought that even though the giant Predator was CG, I still thought that was cool.
Suit
Yeah.
Predator looked really good.
Super
in that
Predator
movie.
always looks awesome. They always look awesome.
I
got
like how
that
they
nailed.
explain the dreads being like it was theorized.
Their sensory
It's
organs.
like, why's he got dreads?
Yeah.
And it was sensory stuff, which
Yeah.
is why the dogs also had dreads.
I appreciated that. I thought
So-
that was fine.
Was the dog coughing up weapons something that the dog always does for the big
No,
Predator?
they were playing fetch. Okay, well, all right, hold on. So here's what happened.
Okay.
There was a dog. To explain to the viewers, there was a dog that was going to kill him. They shot it in the head. Apparently, lobotomized it. So then it became an actual dog that would follow them around.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
was
So then
nice.
he's there to the end of the movie.
he's there to
by
the end of the
way.
movie. Also, he then knows how to play fetch. Because people are throwing weapons, so like a grenade. At one point, they throw a grenade in a truck, and to get the dog into the truck, and so the dog runs in the truck, probably effectively eats the grenade, then spits it up at the exact right time that somebody needs a grenade. So then Olivia Munn uses a grenade.
Okay.
That shot where they cut to the dog chasing after them when they're flying off on a helicopter and they pan down and the dog's like running after them. That was it. That was the perfect symbol of the movie to me.
Yeah, but there was also a shot at the end of the school when they're driving away, that they like get in the RV and they start driving, and there's a shot of the real dog that was
the random
in the beginning.
pit bull.
Yeah, and it was running really fast, so it made me laugh. But it was like they didn't acknowledge it beforehand or after.
Yep.
It was just a random cut of that. Was it to like? Maybe they got notes that were there. They were like,
what happened to the dog?
did that dog die? Like maybe some audience members thought that dog had died or something.
Or they didn't have enough money to CG it catching up to the Winnebago that they randomly got.
Yeah.
Well, so they do a weird thing. They try to. There are many nods and moments, which I think is just when they say things like "get to the chopper," but they meant a motorcycle.
That's fine.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
use the
God.
Predator theme, but then they try to do the same sort of thing where this is what I was talking about earlier. They introduce this cast of characters. They all met for the first time this evening, where they meet each other, and then at the end of the movie, he's like, "These are my boys. These are my soldiers." And it's like, you barely met them. You're all crazy.
Yeah, and your crew that you were with that died in the beginning,
Yeah.
you'd been rolling with for like 6 years or something.
Yeah.
And he wasn't affected by their deaths at all.
And so it's so weird how technically, I think on film and screen time, they had more time together as a unit than the original team in the first Predator movie. But it's more impactful in that movie because you sense there's a history with those characters.
Right, yeah.
And they're together and they're sort of like, we're an elite op group.
Yeah.
We're the best. We'll watch them do a mission. Wow, they work well together. They're badasses. Then they get picked off one by one almost immediately. Within, I want to say 5 minutes, they're all dead. And then you go, holy shit. Oh no, this is it. It's Hunter versus Prey. Wow, what a cool movie. This movie was just they just sort of murder everyone at the end.
Well,
Yeah.
that was the motivation.
Weird.
The motivation in the original Predator was why Dutch was so basically like why Dutch wanted to kill the Predator is because his unit had gotten picked off by the Predator.
Yeah.
But in this movie, that doesn't happen. These people like eventually they die, but individually they die of like accidents almost. Like sometimes they get shot, other times they like fall into things or whatever, and you're like, I mean, I get that was just an accident. Like
one
that,
guy,
it wasn't even the Predator's fault. You know, like
Oh yeah, the one guy that gets his legs chopped
Yeah,
off on top of the spaceship.
well,
at the
so
end,
okay,
just
so
being stupid.
Explain me the plot because I was having a hard time following it. So,
yes,
beginning of the movie,
yeah,
little Predator is running from Big Predator.
correct.
He crash lands because he got
Shot.
Shot,
Yeah, when
yes.
he flew through like the
The wormhole or whatever.
trans-dimensional missile explosion.
Yes.
He got hit.
He was, his ship was fucked up, so he crash landed on Earth.
Okay, and he crash lands in Mexico.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Next to our main, okay,
Our
so
hero,
we
yeah.
already have the same problem as Spider-Man 3 that I'm having issues with thank God this thing from space landed on this exact area I needed to be.
He had to run out of the way so that it didn't crush him in the middle of the fucking jungle.
Well, I mean, so what? That's okay.
Okay.
That's
That's
just
all
a
right.
coincidence.
All right, I'm just making sure. Okay, it crashes.
Yeah.
The Predator then starts killing people?
Okay, so the Predator.
Or do people start opening fire on the Predator?
No. They captured the Predator.
Right.
No, but
No, but
his-
they still-
No,
his
he was
friends.
knocked out, right?
He was knocked out. They captured the little Predator.
No, but the other army men, the other sniper friends, like Dupree or
Oh, yeah,
Dufree
yeah.
or whatever comes, and they're like, "Have you seen Wilson?"
Yeah, no, he
and
kills
then
him.
his body hangs, and he goes, "Is that Wilson?"
This is my confusion because
was
then
Hayes,
it
but
is
yeah.
revealed in the movie that the Predator is trying to help humans.
but he's killing people. Is that what you're getting at?
He
Yes.
skinned the first human he
It-
saw.
It
when he
doesn't make
landed.
any sense.
Yeah.
Because it is revealed in the movie that basically the little Predator is here to help humans because humans are going to get basically extinguished by predators at some point.
I thought it was global warming. That
Well,
was gonna
global
extinguish-
warming
both.
is allowing the Predators to move in with us.
Yes, and that's what it is.
yeah.
So little Predator was like, "I'm here to help. I'm going to give you a weapon," but instead he kills him
He, like hangs a dude from a tree and then kills another dude.
right away.
And then you're like, yeah, this is the bad guy. And then They even take him to a lab. He continues to kill more people.
Well, escaping from the lab makes a little bit more sense.
Kind of, yes.
Because he's like trying to escape.
Sort of.
That was probably one of the coolest parts of the movie, though. That scene
was.
where he's
Yeah, that
escaping
massacre.
was really rad.
But he kills people that are not trying to kill him. Like he just kills scientists that are just off to the side. Like he's like a few people
Jake
that are shooting.
Busey.
There are a few people that are shooting guns
Busey.
at Predator, and that makes sense.
Sure.
He had to defend himself.
Right.
But the other ones, there's a guy that's just laying on the thing and he just slices his throat open, and you're like, well, I guess. And when you
Maybe that guy stuck something up his butt. When
Maybe. It was just.
Well, because he left naked Olivia
Olivia Munn
alone.
That's true. She left her alone
because she seemed not like a threat. You seem like he would have done that probably for other scientists that were not a threat. But
Why hang the guy from the tree?
I
It's just.
don't know.
It's sort of weird to be like, I bring peace. Ha!
And then
Why would you let me give you peace? God damn it! Like, I mean, there are parts where he sort of communicates, and there's kind of cartoony, weird shit where he takes a dismembered arm and uses it as like a thumbs up.
yeah,
Oh, God.
that was my turning point where I was like, maybe this movie won't be good.
Well, the reason that he did that was that Little Predator or Big Predator?
I think it was Little
Little
Predator.
Predator.
It was
So
Little
that
Predator.
makes sense because he has human DNA, so he does understand humans a little more than normal. I appreciate that.
Explain that plot point to me too. What was there? So they're scanning the Predator DNA when they have him captured, and they say he has human DNA inside of him. The Predators are coming to our planet, taking samples of the best.
The best, right?
So, according to the food pyramid, or sorry,
Well, it's basically they go planet to planet across the galaxy and
Getting the
whatever
best.
and find the apex
whatever-
predator
yes.
of the planet,
Yeah.
which would be humans, because we're top of the food chain.
And then
I said
mashing them
food
up.
pyramid, but I meant food
We
chain.
know what you meant. And then mashing them up all into one like super amazing predator.
Sure. So, super tall predator is one part.
Uber predator.
Uber predator.
So they took like an NBA player's DNA.
That was Yao Ming.
Yes, Yao Ming. They got the tallest guy they could find. And then he had like a metal exoskeleton that he could turn on at will
Okay.
from another planet, maybe.
that was my question because they seemed bulletproof in this movie. All of the Predators seemed completely bulletproof.
until he shoots him in the head at the end.
Except for he shot him in the head.
Exactly.
Because you're right. Well,
I mean, they just light them up in this movie.
okay, so
Constantly.
I will attempt to be Shane Black again and explain it to you.
All right.
The
Thank you, Shane.
the exoskeleton from Uber Predator, he could turn on at will. There were a couple times he turned it on and off. So I think at the end of the movie, when they'd finally defeated the Uber Predator, he couldn't turn it on anymore because he was so fucked.
Or he was over it and he's just like, kill me.
Or that too. But
Maybe.
either way, they put a gun to his head and just fire bullets.
Well, yeah,
into
he
it.
did. He had no arms and no legs at the end.
So I think he was so fucked that it didn't matter.
So fun
Yeah.
trivia fact. Gary Busey was in Predator 2.
That's right.
Jake Busey, son of him,
The Predator
is in The Predator.
for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think
I love seeing Jake Busey get some work.
I like seeing him around. He's actually a pretty good actor.
Extra fun fact: they both share the same character last name, implying that Jake is his father's character.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay.
Is that
good.
where you were going with
No,
that?
I was wondering if they knew.
No, they very.
Because I assume most people who made The Predator didn't see Predator 2. I just assume most people didn't see Predator 2. I thought you just kind of assumed that movie never happened.
On the bulletproof subject, the dogs were also bulletproof.
They were.
And there was I'd say maybe like 90 seconds straight where the dog is just standing there on the baseball, football field, whatever, and everyone is in like a quarter circle around it, just firing in their moving position.
Yeah,
Like the sniper guy was firing, and then he ran around to the other side, and then he kept firing. And
Yeah.
they're like, and none of them went, "Oh, it's bulletproof."
Yeah.
They're just like, "Keep shooting your guns."
Well, then,
So
but then,
that was like I literally sighed in the middle of that because it was like.
but then one of the guys walks up and puts a bullet straight into the dog's head. So how did he know where to shoot it?
he put it on his little ear
There's
hole.
no logic to it. In that same scene, 3 cars come out of literally nowhere
That was
into
my
the
favorite
middle
part.
of the football field. They absolutely nowhere. They show up in the very middle,
And they all
at the same
ramp
time.
off of a bush. They all ramp into the sky.
I'll attempt to be Shane Black yet again.
Okay.
They did explain that briefly, not the Winnebago, I don't think, but they explained the cop car and the other car. They explained that the fact that they went off and stole cars, like because the black guy said, "I got something a little flashy," like basically implying that he stole a cop car.
Yeah.
So they didn't show it, but he did. They all went out and stole things. They all went out and stole cars.
That's another one of those choppy things about the film. Characters would just disappear
And then come
without
back and-
acknowledging it, and then just appear when they need to be there.
But let me ask you this. Where did they get, because this is a question we were asking last night, where did they get all the guns and the grenade launcher? Where
From
did
the
they
Magic Winnebago.
No, I think that you got it from the Winnebago that he kept all his weapons in.
Who
guess.
did?
Main
Who's
character.
Sniper
That
Man
Boyd,
had like
yeah.
a secret car full of weapons.
No, that got cut from the movie. Clearly, somewhere they met a dude that gave them a
I
Winnebago
think there's a brief
full of
moment
guns.
where they're in a Winnebago and they pull a weapon out of nowhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's-
Olivia Munn
like
opens like the closet and pulls out.
Do
a
they?
grenade launcher.
All right, I'm in. I'm
You
back
don't
in.
have-
But
You
where'd the
have to be
Winnebago
in.
come from?
I think it.
Well, I guess it was Boyd Holbrook.
It's a confusing plot point because they're like the kid's like, my dad's a killer. He don't come here no more or whatever. Or like my dad's on a secret mission. They don't really imply that he's estranged to his family until someone literally says, "You've been estranged from your family for 12 years." Your son's 12. How does this kid know he has a dad? Why are you still holding on to his stuff? Why?
Well, his wife was also super nice to him for like being estranged.
She
They were
was
pretty
mad
cool.
for about 1 second.
Yeah.
When he walked in, she's like, "Oh, nice to see you," or like, "I guess, honey, you're home," or whatever she said.
And he was like, "Fuck you. There's a man back in your life. Be grateful." And she's like, "Yes, sir." That's because I thought at one point he was gonna be like, Olivia Munn's gonna be like, "Who's that?" He's like, "That's my ex-wife. She's some bitch. You want to fuck?" Like,
Yeah.
That was sort of the vibe the main character was giving. Like, there's a part where like Olivia Munn's like just riding him on the motorcycle
Yeah,
unconscious,
she was because she had shot herself in the foot with a tranquilizer gun.
which was funny.
Yeah.
And so it was, why did she mount him instead of just getting on the back of the motorcycle?
That's how he chose to put
I thought that
her on
was
there
really
because she was
strange.
passing
Yeah.
out.
I don't know. Either way, I actually did appreciate that there was no love story. I was fine.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
totally fine with that. I didn't want anybody kissing for no
Though
reason.
the love story did end up becoming,
Oh yeah.
let's go get my son back. And you're like,
Oh no. There was another
Oh,
love
the bro
story.
love.
Yeah, the bro love.
yeah, that was
Which-
okay. Tom
and-
Jane and
Keegan.
Keenan.
Yeah.
Once he actually reunited with his son, he then, every single line he had the word son in
My
it.
son.
He was like, "Come on, son! Get down, son! All right, son, take this gun, son!" Like, the first two lines, I was like, oh, he said son both lines. And so it then clicked onto my head, and then he kept doing it. It was very strange.
I want to make just really clear to the people that are still listening to the podcast. It's okay that we're spoiling all this. It's still worth watching if you like this stuff.
Well, because
Like,
I don't think you're going for any of this. You're
No,
just
right,
you're
yeah.
just
Not
kind of going for gore porn.
Yeah, it's not a surprising plot.
Yeah.
It's fun action.
That was sort of the vibe I got when people in the theater were cheering every time someone died.
Yeah, no, that's true.
That's
Yeah.
sort of, I guess, what you're going
They
for.
were all
is just-
clapping like this.
Like
too.
a body would explode, and you'd be like, "Woo!"
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was cool.
Well, there's that one where he took out his arm slicers and he just stabbed the guy
yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
20 times.
His body basically broke and bent over,
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
cool.
There's some cool.
Whatever the
visual stuff,
harpoon
but-
weapon was, that thing was so cool.
It was brutal.
Yeah, there was
kept
some.
decapitating people. Although it didn't really follow physics because sometimes he would like rope somebody with it and then it would shoot him up into the ceiling like Batman.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Video game physics.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it
Like
totally
you
was.
shoot a guy too hard, the ragdoll just shoots up in the air.
I actually do have another little bit of trivia for you, Adam.
Yeah,
You were asking earlier.
yeah.
So there's a let's see if I can pull this up here. There's a prequel novel to this movie where the guy comes across the predator in Vietnam and then
Wait,
establishes
in the Vietnam War.
in the
or
Vietnam
just-
War he
Oh,
comes
okay.
across a predator and then starts Project Stargazer.
Oh,
Right.
okay, got it.
There's a
So-
great moment in the beginning of this film where, because I guess there's a government part of they just have basically evil shadow government, which is super tropey.
Yeah.
Where they're just mean guys, but they go up to Olivia Munn and they go, "I hear you like stargazing," and she just has a look at her face. And I lean over to John, and I was like, "I think she forgot her line." Because she just does that thing where she stares like
I just assumed that
nod anything.
I assumed she knew what it meant. I don't know.
But then she even says she's like, "I'm on call if there's ever aliens." You're like, "What a
Yeah,
sweet
what the
job."
fuck was that?
Yeah.
That's cool. And then they're immediately like, "Kill her." She knows
Yeah.
too much. Like
There was
never signed an NDA for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
Come on.
there was a throwaway line about her saying like, yeah, she wrote a paper about blah blah blah, and like that's why they asked her to be in Stargazer. But you're right. Later on in the movie, they're like, well, what should we do with a girl? Kill her. And they're like, I was like, wait a minute, what? Well, hold on, you invested 20 years into this woman, and you're like, just shoot her, fuck it.
I like how dismissive that was Sterling K. Brown's Traeger. That
like
was
that.
one of the really cool parts of his character. It's like he knew what kind of movie he was in, even though he was a character.
Yeah.
And was completely dismissive of everybody's life.
I can also, you know what? I'll attempt to be Shane Black on that plot point as well, because I think the reason they wanted to kill her is because she stole something from the lab, and I think Traeger knew it. She stole that vial.
She saw like blood
Or something. Yeah, so I think that's why.
It was spinal fluid.
Because I thought the same thing when they were like, kill her. And I was like, what the fuck? Why would they want to kill her? I was like, I guess she stole something.
Oh my God, is that Shane Black? He's explaining this whole movie to me.
I don't know. To me, it was like,
So-
I was trying to figure it out.
Shane,
Yes.
can you explain the very end to me?
Which part? Oh, the spoiler.
Well, yeah.
At the very, very end.
So like he shows up and his kid is now
His kid's a scientist.
Asperger's son is now the lead scientist of Stargazer.
His kid's a lead scientist in Stargazer.
Spoiler warning.
They
We have spoiler warning long time ago.
yeah, they find a pod. Where'd they find that pod?
Well, okay, so
What happened?
the story was that the little Predator brought this thing. Big Predator blew up his ship because he's like,
Oh, that's
no,
right. Yes, yeah.
you cannot have this thing,
Yeah.
this MacGuffin. It is gone. But they go, good news. The pod ejected before he blew it
right,
up.
that's right.
It was
Yeah.
like, really? Couldn't
Fail safe.
that? I guess that's a failsafe. So like, we got it. We're opening it right now inside this room with your son. The kid's just sitting there like, can't wait for him to open his alien thing.
That's not how autism works. There's a lot of dumb people with autism.
I mean, yeah, there are a lot of people. Yes, there are a lot of dumb people. Period. But yes.
Yeah, I mean it's not like just because you're autistic, you're like a supernatural being.
Right.
Oh, by the way,
Sort of a Mercury
I'll attempt to be
Rising
Shane
problem.
Black about the escape pod thing.
Sure.
When they said that, I'm pretty sure they showed that at the very beginning of the movie when he's flying over. I think something ejects off of it.
Well, the camera did hang on that pod.
Yeah, I think
for like
something
a few
ejected.
No,
moments
that
saying
was
this
his
is
escape
important.
pod.
Was that? I thought that was his ship. So his ship and a pod went like separately. I thought Predator stayed in the ship and then the pod went somewhere else.
No. The
whatever,
escape
fine.
pod that almost crushed Sniper Guy
I have
was
no idea.
his escape pod.
I have no idea.
The pod was still, because I think after he ejected, it showed it flying over and it kind of slow zoomed on the pod. And I said, in my head, I went, well, we're going to come back to that.
And you were right.
So they get the pod
yeah, they get
open.
the
We're all expecting, for some reason, Arnold to come out of
no,
it.
there's a reason. They said, they're like, we think that basically this is the weapon that the Predator wanted to give to us.
Right.
And because the Predator, in the Predator's own language, called them the biggest, best Predator in the galaxy or whatever. So,
Well, they
sorry,
call
go
it
ahead.
like this is the Predator killer.
Yeah, the Predator killer. That's what it was.
Yeah.
This is the Predator
in
killer.
the Predator language that was somehow translated on screen.
Yeah.
It was,
as well.
the cybernetic thing was sentient. And the little boy was like, it's sending me a message from inside the pod.
It did say that.
And they're like, what is it saying? Does it have a name? He's like, yeah, he calls himself, I guess you'd say, Predator Killer.
That's exactly what happened.
Wow, it's like I'm back at the movie.
Almost word for word. But then the pod opens, and all of us are leaning over to each other, being like, "This is going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. I can't wait. This is going to be Arnold. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see Dutch finally. Oh my gosh."
Which, to be fair, he didn't. I wouldn't really consider him a predator killer. He got really lucky with the.
Yeah.
Like,
Just killed the one.
He covered
Yeah.
himself in mud and was yelling and screaming the whole time.
He just killed the one.
Yeah.
So, and then instead of it being Arnold, spoiler alert, it's not Arnold. It's some suit that pops out of the pod and then like basically jumps itself onto a scientist, shows itself really quickly with a bunch of cannons all
It has
over
like,
it.
yeah, that's like
nanobots
40
or
guns.
something.
It looked
Yeah.
like some drawing I made when I was 9 years
Yes,
old.
that's exactly what it
It
looked like.
reminded me of a kid's cartoon from
Yes,
the 90s.
yes.
It's like
Yeah.
the suit that the kid gets so he can go and fight with the soldiers.
That
or
is
whatever.
100% correct.
It's a toy.
On all counts, it looks like a toy, and then it CG's back into the I guess it's enclosure.
Sure.
And then he goes, "That's my new suit."
Yep.
Or no, he used the word threads or something.
Yeah, the
didn't
final line of that movie, I believe, is, "I hope it comes in 40 large."
Oh.
And he goes, what the? And people started clapping. It's like,
Well, clearly that
think
was
just
supposed
'cause
to
they
be
got-
the Arnold reveal.
It was. I promise you, that was in the script that
was
Arnold comes
supposed
out
to
of
be
that,
Arnold's
He
first.
and he
probably-
did not want to do it.
he probably. The
Well-
story I heard was he chose Terminator 6, the one they're doing with Tim Miller instead.
I thought we read that he wanted to be more of a lead
That's what I
character
read.
in the movie.
He wanted to be
like
the,
he was
the
like, "Oh, you're
protagonist.
doing another Predator."
Keep
Look
him
at Arnold.
straight.
It's like
Yeah.
he's in the room with
Um,
me.
Shane Black
But
and
when they
Arnold
said it was
for Terminator
cybernetics,
today.
I thought it was going to be a Terminator. That like they were going to open it
Oh,
up. and it
that
was gonna
would've
be
been cool.
Terminator.
That actually would have been
Arnold
cool. Well,
Terminator.
I thought it was going to be an alien if it wasn't Arnold. I thought it was going to be an alien, and I was like, that would have been neat because then it would have been like an alien that is like working for us, basically.
Or that's
You're talking about like a xenomorph alien
Yes,
from
I'm
Alien?
sorry, like a xenomorph
wearing
alien.
bifocals.
Because we know they're in the same.
It's a kid also with autism.
we know they're in the same universe, right? We know because of AVP. So like that. So
I mean, are they though? I don't know.
yeah, they totally are. It's been like clarified over and over that they are in the same universe. Alien and Predator are always.
Yeah, from the creators of AVP going, please take us seriously.
They did.
This is canon.
Also, in Predator 2, I think they even showed the alien's skull.
Yeah, that's where the whole connection
Oh
came
yeah,
from.
yeah.
I think.
Believe me, they wouldn't let it go, and then they made 2 like terrible movies about it.
Second one's not so bad.
I mean, I don't know. So I never saw the first movie. All I know is they're in an underground pyramid.
It's not good. It's terrible. It's garbage.
How do you get there? I don't know.
I don't
It's
know. It's really
You
bad.
just gotta have aliens fight
What?
predators.
I don't remember. I haven't watched Predator since I was like 12 years old.
don't
I don't
remember-
remember that he does surgery on
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah.
That's
It's really-
awesome.
All that
No,
advanced
it's really
technology,
cool.
and
So
they've got
I was
this
gonna
mechanical
say that earlier.
needle.
So the predator in the first movie, he was never bulletproof. He was just so fast and he was invisible you
Yeah.
couldn't see him. It took them mowing down the entire jungle with a minigun that he got hit a little bit.
little bit,
And
yeah.
he gets hit like almost immediately and runs away. And then they're like, "Arr," and they're just tearing it down. And I was like, that was kind of a cool moment. Is it took all that just for that little bit of blood, and then they never get him again
I need to watch that again.
until Arnold. I think he kills him with a stick. I thought.
I think you're
He
right.
kills him. No, he
A
like
log falls
yeah,
on
he
him.
sets up
Oh.
a trap.
Yeah.
That trap is actually in the game, The Forest.
If you're in a position where you can't find pornography, just watch the scene where they're all lifting trees.
Oh, it's
yeah.
awesome.
Dude.
Yeah, it's awesome. They're like shredded arms are pulling up, like
They're-
lifting weights, basically.
Yeah, they're like setting up like traps before they all get picked off because they're like create a perimeter, like you got it, and they're just pulling on vines. You're just
Yeah.
like, oh god.
Yeah, no, it's fucking
80s
cool.
steroids, muscles.
This whole movie's fucking cool.
I feel
I
like
love the original Predator.
I feel like the Predator could have used more big, muscly 80s. Like there's a certain grit to, even though it was like super gay, the 80s was also super gritty.
Yeah.
And it needed this.
What's wrong with
This
being
like
gay,
it's like
man?
a amount of
Well, no, no.
machismo that was absent from the weird mentally disabled VA guy.
Can you see Mother Nature crying right now?
I love this. It's so stupid, but it's amazing.
They're just blowing up a jungle.
bunch of dudes on steroids and cocaine.
Blowing up
I
a
think-
jungle.
I think they took out live fire ammunition, or actually just shooting the jungle.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is like what Josh Flanagan would do if he had money. I don't
Firing
know.
real guns.
This is it's just it's so amazing to watch this movie and then think about what we watched last night.
Yeah.
Because it's such a far cry from this.
Yeah,
and there's
yeah.
a reason why this is so cool because it's like human technology and like it's kind of brute force and sort of like inelegant. Versus the Predator in the movie, in the original Predator, which he's pretty elegant and like he's like kind of aerobic and gymnastic and like stuff like that.
Right, but he's like a hunter, but he's got space weapons. Yeah.
And then in the Predator, he's got all sorts of CG laser guns and like like all sorts of crazy shit that was not on him in Predator.
yeah.
So I don't know.
Anyway, well, that's our review.
Yeah.
I think it's worth the watch if you like Predator. at
I
all.
don't.
I think it's worth the watch if you like Predator.
I feel like if you want a fun action movie, it is fun and there is cool action and
Yeah.
it is rated R,
I
which
had
allows
fun.
it to be gory. But it is not. It's a far cry from a good film.
But the action
Just
is
watch
not.
Predator again.
Yeah.
Like I realized part of the way through the movie that I like because a lot of times when I watch action, I'll get into it and I'll just be like, whoa, whoa. But I was just sitting there, mouth agape, like mouth half open, just
That's
staring.
because all the food you ate before.
yeah. That's because I had
It's
a
all the
giant
Panda
thing of
Express.
Panda.
All right. Well, thank you, Lisa, again for bringing us this Film House. And yeah, I don't know. If you like action movies, go see The Predator.
Don't go see it.
You're better off just renting Predator.
I agree. Wait for
or
Redbox.
watching this guy.
Man,
No.
just watch the original Predator. Even watch Predators. Watch AVP. I don't know. Do something that doesn't cost money. Save a buck.
All right.
Well, see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
What was it? Bendis was like Samuel L. Jackson would be a great Nick Fury.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and they drew the guy
Right?
look exactly
Wasn't that
like
Bendis?
him.
Well, I think
so.
Like he was basically
Yeah.
like, man, it'd be so cool if he would be such a good modern day take on Nick Fury. So then they just drew Samuel L. Jackson in the comic books. So then
think-
when they rebooted,
I could be wrong. I think the story was they approached